we say they've choked. Choked? That could be fatal. Is being stressed and not seeing the desired outcome fatal? We all seem to think so. We think that so strongly that we'll go out of our way to avoid stressful situations. We may not ask for that promotion because the fear of rejection and confrontation would be too stressful. We might not ask that person out on a date, so we'll use apps like Tinder and Bumble so we can ask through text rather than face-to-face. And walking into our exam, we may not take that course because we don't feel like we're going to do well. But that moment on the start line that I just had you imagine, that was my reality. I competed at the London 2012 Olympics, where I finished as an Olympic semi-finalist in the 400-meter hurdles. And as an Olympian, stress is part of my job. But one of the questions I often get asked is, what is it like inside your head when you're under that level of stress? And to be honest, that day in London, I wasn't stressed. Because I had been taught how to look at stress differently. And today, I want to show you that you guys can look at your stress differently too. That handling stress well isn't something unique to athletes. It is something we can all learn and use as a tool to become successful. But in order for you to understand how I got to that perspective, I need to take you back to 1 year before the Olympic Games. It was January 2011. We were 19 months out from Olympic trials. I was at a training camp down in Florida, doing 2-a-day workouts, and not just completing these workouts, crushing these workouts. And I had to crush these workouts, because I had a little thermometer of stress in the back of my brain that was constantly reminding me, the Olympics are coming. And with that level of stress, I thought I had it under control. But the morning after the biggest workout of the week, I stepped out of bed and I had this really unusual pain in the back of my leg. And at first, I thought maybe I had pulled a muscle. But something didn't add up because the muscle was still strong. It just hurt to put weight on it. So I went home to see the doctor and we did some tests, and we found out it wasn't my muscle. It was my bone. I had developed a stress fracture in my femur. And your femur is the biggest bone in your body, your massive thigh bone. And I had somehow managed to find a way to put a crack in that bone. And this was devastating, because this is the year before the Olympics. So that little thermometer that was reminding me the Olympics are coming, that stress began to boil when I found out I had to completely stop training. And I had to watch teammates and competitors and friends gear up and get stronger the year before the Olympics. Well, I'm being told to sit down, no weight bearing, just recover. And to make matters worse, we had no idea how long this was going to take to heal. I was told to just go cross-train for a few months, come back, we'll check to see if it's healed. So I go away 3 months, cross-train, I come back to the doctor kind of excited, hoping that it's healed. We only have 15 months till the Olympic Games now. He says, no, sorry, not healed, come back in 5 weeks. And that stress thermometer rose. I went away, I cross-trained for a few more weeks, came back, kind of excited. Is my bone healed? No, sorry, not healed, come back in 5 weeks. And that stress thermometer rose. Then 13 months to the Olympic Games, then 12 months, then 11, then 10. This went on for 9 months, and I still couldn't train. And that clock was ticking. And it felt, every single time the doctor turned me away, that I just thought about giving up. How was I going to do this? Because I wasn't even at the fitness level required to qualify when I got hurt. So that meant even when I could start running, I had to get back to who I was and then improve upon that in order to qualify. And no matter what I had accomplished in my sport, up until that point, if I didn't make this Olympics, if I didn't do this goal, it would have meant in the final hours in my pursuit, I choked. But finally, 9 months later, I'm cleared to run. We have now a quick 8 months to qualify for the Olympic Games. And I have family and friends, the people closest to me, remind me to remain realistic, to not get my hopes up, that it would be okay and everyone would understand if I wanted to walk away. But I wasn't ready to walk away. So on that first day back to training, I got the word believe tattooed onto my wrist. And I said, no matter what obstacles I face, no matter how deep in over my head this seems, this stress has made me stronger. And I will do this. And when I do, I will complete this tattoo with the Olympic rings underneath. And with no guarantee, I set out onto this mission. I began to train. I started off jogging. Then I could start running. Then I could start sprinting. Then I could do hurdle drills. Then I could run over hurdles. Then I could start racing. Then I started winning races. Then I got even faster. And then it was Olympic trials. The gun went off, and I came out so hard. I attacked every hurdle. And coming into the final straightaway, over hurdle 10, I never wanted something so badly in my whole life. I got to the line, I leaned. I looked up at the scoreboard, and I had won the race, hit Olympic standard, and I was going to London. And 8 months before that, it didn't even seem like I would ever be near that. So what was going on inside my head that day, on the line in London? Was it the tattoo? Should we all go tattoo ourselves of our goals? I'm not here pro tattoo. But the biggest thing that changed was my perspective on stress was so different. I wasn't looking at all the stress as a negative. I was looking at it as something I could use and harness as a tool. And so how can we look at all the stress in our lives in this way? A 1970 study by Dr. Froman said that in order for us to change our view, 3 preconditions must be present: reward, stress, and belief. The first one of those, reward. We have to know what we're changing, why we're changing it. This is the part many of us have down pat, because New Year's resolution time comes along, and we all know what we want. We want to lose 10 pounds, we want to be CEO, we want to hit 125% of our sales targets. For me, I wanted to be an Olympian. And for you, maybe you want to get that promotion. Maybe you want to finish school with a certain GPA. Maybe you want to start your own company. But the next 2 preconditions is where I want to spend the most time today: stress and belief. Because the second precondition to change the way we think about stress is stress itself. Though it can often be made the villain in our society, stress can actually be so beneficial. And this is apparent in many categories of our lives. Physiologically, every time you work out, you actually cause micro-tearing of your muscle fibers, which triggers your body to then adapt and get stronger. And for innovation, so many inventions are created because someone experiences some type of stress or inconvenience that triggers them to think differently and stretch their brains of how we can diminish that stressor. And for me, sitting out that 9 months and not being able to train triggered a level of stress in me I had never experienced before. I thought I was watching my dreams slip away. But in the end, that stress was actually the reason I was able to change my mindset about stress. And in your life, you can see your stress like this too. You can find the positive. Kelly McGonigal, a health psychologist and another TED speaker, defines stress as stress is what arises when something you care about is at stake. Is that so bad? If stress is just something that's letting us know that we care about it, maybe that's something we can live with. No matter how big or small that stressor, whether it's getting around to cleaning out your email inbox, doing well on your next exam, hitting your key performance indicator at work, or having to do it all because you want to provide a good life for your family. What if all that stress, all that anxiety, was just an emotion that was arising because you cared about it? One study concluded that people with meaningful lives worry more and have more stress than someone with less meaningful of a life. So rather than looking at your stress as highlighting all the things that are going wrong in your life, what if you could see your stress as an indicator to focus your attention in on the activities and relationships that are meaningful to you? Because psychological stress, much like an injury,
can tell you something. It can draw your attention and provide some authentic feedback that you can then use and harness moving forward. So stress must be embraced if we want to reframe stress. We must remind ourselves of its ability to be a catalyst in our growth. And the third precondition to change the way we look at stress is belief. Because in order for us to look at stress differently, we have to believe we're capable of handling the stress that's even around us. And it's easy to get overwhelmed and feel like it's all too much. And there's actually a name for this when we think that way. It's called the impostor phenomenon. One study surveyed managers of organizations, and 70% of them said that they believed that they got to their role because they had tricked someone, that they didn't actually deserve to be there. That's crazy. But 70% of them thought that. And I know that I certainly felt like an imposter when I got the word believe tattooed onto my wrist when I had never even come close to Olympic standard before. And to be honest, I kind of feel like an imposter standing up here. Because when I was asked to do this talk, I felt like only people with PhDs and research backgrounds had good enough stuff to talk about up here. And we've all felt like imposters at some point. But I wasn't an imposter when I got that word believe on my wrist. I really had gone through torment that year. And because of that stress, I was now stronger. And I could look down at my wrist, and I could remind myself of that, everything I had overcome to that point, and tell myself to believe. And so find that positive affirmation in your life. You can do it. You will do it. And prove it to yourself by drawing on your past experiences. And those past experiences don't have to be directly correlated either. If you've ever survived a winter in Pittsburgh, you know how to suck it up and deal with unfortunate circumstances. And if you've ever woken up early to finish a project, you know how to be disciplined. And if you've ever been told that you can't, and you went and did it anyways, then you know how to overcome obstacles. So once you can see you are capable, you will be able to believe in your ability to handle that stress. And that will allow you to combat your imposter syndrome. So take Frohman's framework and apply it to all the stressors of your life. It is as easy as A, B, C. A, stop acting like imposters. You've worked hard. You may have leveraged your network along the way, but that doesn't mean it wasn't you. You're the one who established those relationships. You're the one who represents yourself. You're the one who is capable of overcoming these challenges. Stop acting like imposters. B, believe in your ability to handle the stress. Think about all that you've endured to get to that point, and come up with a positive affirmation to remind yourself. Because once you can believe you're capable, you'll be able to combat that imposter syndrome, and you'll be able to handle stress differently. And C, choose to look at stress differently. Now that you know you are able, you'll be able to walk to whatever version is your start line and look at it differently. Whether that's walking into your first job interview, asking for that promotion, quitting your job so you can start your own company. You can choose to look at your stress differently. Because stress isn't the villain. It can be the hero. Know that stress can be an opportunity for growth, not a chance to choke. Thank you.